Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy end of September. Oh my gosh, October's almost here. Halloween's just around the corner. And if I'm not mistaken, it is National Good Neighbor Day. So go out and be a good neighbor today. And welcome to this edition of the Pixmo webinar series and today's offering of Microsoft Syntex tips and tricks for content extraction. We are going to dive into anything and everything about Syntex, what it can do for you, how to use it, what's the best way to use it, all that fun stuff. We're going to dive into that and more. As always, my name is Michael Wells. I am the Customer Success Manager here at CreoSpark, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all here today on this fine Thursday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, what time it is, wherever you're coming from. And it is wonderful to have you all here today. We have got a heck of a session for you today. So go to the next slide, please. I just want to run through a few of the things that we're going to be going through today, a little bit of an agenda. So we'll do some introductions on housekeeping in a bit. Then we'll go over a little overview of what Syntex is. We'll talk about unstructured teaching models, go over licensing and some case study stuff. We've got best practices and deployment that we're going to go through as well. We've got some demos for you coming through as well. And then we've got, of course, some Q&A at the end. That's a little bit about what we're going through today. Next slide, please. I got a full plate today of what we're going through. A couple quick housekeeping things for y'all. I'm sure you have a question. I'm sure you do. Leave those questions in there. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. Had a little cough. If you've got questions, there is a questions panel for you guys coming in. If you are on the desktop app, there's going to be a little pop-out thing that you can put your questions in. Excuse me. If you're on the desktop browser version, there should be a little chat bubble with a question mark in it. That's where you're going to put your questions. Drop them on in there. I will be following along, making sure those questions get to our speakers for today. We try to get those in as we can. We will get those answered today. If we don't get to those in the moment, we will make sure that we get to those at the end of the session. We always leave a little bit of time at the end. There's also going to be a handout at the end of the session with a bunch of resources with all the stuff that we've talked about today. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. I'll make sure to let you know when it's in that handouts little pop-out section for you. Also, recordings. We do record these sessions. We always do. We try to get them out by the next week if possible. So keep an eye out for that as well. We're also going to have a little survey at the end. We'd love to hear your feedback. We are a culture of constant improvement. Love to hear anything you guys are thinking about. What did you like? What do you think we could do a little bit more about? Maybe there's a session that you want to hear about, a topic that you would love to learn more about. Let us know. Just let us know about it. We'd love to hear about it. Take you 2 minutes and you'll hear about the great things that can happen to you if you do that survey. Next slide, please. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, hey, who are these folks that are hosting the webinar? Well, I'd love to tell you about it. This is the Pixmo webinar series brought to you by the fine folks at CreoSpark, and as always, presented by the letter M and the number 365. And we are a bunch of folks who like to work all in and around the Microsoft universe, touching every corner, every puzzle piece that Microsoft has to offer. And it's all in pursuit of that ideal digital employee experience, no matter how you want it to be. That's what we want to do. We want to make your Microsoft dreams come true, make sure that Microsoft magic is happening for you. I made a lot of accidental rhymes just now. Hope you enjoyed them. Where do we do that from? We've got a couple different headquarters. We've got our headquarters in Davis, California. That's where I'm coming from today, about 20 minutes south of our state capital, Sacramento. And then we've also got our other headquarters in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We're spanning all across North America, and as soon as I can convince someone to put an office in Mexico, I'll see you there as well. But we are having a lot of fun doing what we're doing, working within the Microsoft world. Next slide, please. Yeah, doing it. It's been a lot of fun doing that stuff. And as always, we have a poll for you guys. We like to kick these things off with a little poll, just to get an understanding of why you're here, what you're looking to get out of today's session. Just a little bit of an opportunity for us to get to know you guys. So let me just get this poll launched. It's taking just a second. You're going to see it pop up on your screen. Please do answer for us. Are you currently using Microsoft Syntex at your organization? Yes, and I've been actively using it. Or yes, and I have been using it personally. No, but we plan to. Syntex, what? Or I didn't realize this was a session on linguistics. Of course, playing off of that, it sounds like syntax, but it's Syntex, Microsoft Syntex. Please shoot us an answer. Let us know how you're feeling. Are you using Syntex? Have you even heard of it? Are you all up in it every day? Are you still trying to figure out just exactly what it is? We would love to get your reactions. Please get your votes in while we are hanging out here. See a lot of good answers come in. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. lots of good things coming in. Great. Yep, seeing that. Thank you, guys. Syntex is such a cool piece. I am really genuinely excited for this session today. There is so much to learn about it. It's a really cool thing that you guys will be able to do. About 10 more seconds for your answers. Would love to hear from you guys. Get those answers in the next little bit. We would love to know how you're using Syntex, what you're doing with it, all of that. And with that, we will go ahead and close that down. And I'll share those results with you. Let's get that shared. So not a lot of answers actually came in, but 75% of you aren't really sure what Syntex is. And then 25% of you said, I didn't realize this was a session on linguistics. I appreciate you appreciating that joke. But a lot of people aren't too familiar with Syntex. That's actually really great to hear. This is going to be a really fun session. And in that respect, you have a lot to learn about it. We love hearing that. Great. With that, I've talked on long enough. Let's get to our speakers for today. Let's meet these folks who are going to be teaching you guys all about what we're doing. We have a couple really amazing teammates who are here today. First, we have one of our amazing cloud solutions consultants. He is a fun guy. I've gotten to work a lot with him on the App of the Day sessions we do. He is a master of the Power Platform. He's kind of a master of everything. I love working with him. He is Mr. Edward Chen. Edward, it's so good to have you here today, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Edward. I've been in IT field for the past 9 years and been working with Power Platform for 5 years and counting. So my specialty in ClearSpark is basically dealing with clients that's from, well, I guess on legacy platform, and they need help migrating to the modern, I guess, platform. So like SharePoint on-prem or Lintex workflows to Power App and Power Automate. So yeah, that's a quick overview of what I do.
Excellent. Thank you. And our other gentleman just popped up. Let me introduce him as well. He is one of our cloud solutions architects. He is the wizard of the web, as I like to call him. He is an architect of all things Microsoft 365. He is the one, he's the only, Imran Patel. Imran, how are you doing today, sir? Glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Michael, for a great intro. Yes, so I'm a senior cloud solution architect here at ClearSpark. I'm working with Microsoft technologies for over 15 years, started with SharePoint when it launched newly, did a lot of intranets, custom projects on SharePoint, working on Power Platform as an architect, designing a lot of business solutions, and also working a little bit with Azure Functions and all the Azure Sites component from the Microsoft. So yeah, that's about me. And so let's not waste more time, and then let's get into the session for today. So before we begin, we conducted some of the survey, and I would like to share some of the results with you. So Microsoft conducted the survey, and they found that over 1.6 billion documents gets uploaded every day into the Microsoft 365. And another separate survey from Spiceworks, they identified that people are spending over 11 to 14% of their productive time in just looking for the right content. So we found that there is a lot of time that's being wasted to basically find the content that people are looking for. So today we are going to learn about Microsoft Syntex and understand how Syntex can help us achieve or solve this problem of basically finding the content. So let's start with the introduction of Microsoft Syntex, since a lot of you people are not aware what Microsoft Syntex is. So basically, Syntex is a content processing, understanding, and compliance service that uses an intelligent document processing, IA, and advanced machine learning to basically organize, classify, and basically tag your documents within SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, OneDrive for Business, or in Exchange. So in a short, that's what the Syntex is. There are, however, there are a lot of services that Syntex provides. Some of these services include content assembly. So a lot of you might be aware of mail merge back in the days. So this is similar to that, where you can basically pre-assemble some of your documents, such as contracts, and Syntex will do it for you automatically. There are also a bunch of pre-built document processing models available within the Syntex that you can use out of the box to extract the data from your documents. Then the next service it provides is the structured and free-form document processing. So structured processing is basically useful when you want to extract the information from your structured document, such as invoices or forms where you have a fixed field information fields that you want to extract. So that's where the structured document processing is helpful. The next service is unstructured document processing. And again, today's our main focus will be on unstructured documents processing. So it's basically useful to extract information from an unstructured document, such as letters, contracts, and so forth. You can use Syntex also for tagging your images, depending on what the images is used for. Microsoft AI will automatically scan those images and tag them for you. There's also a taxonomy tagging service available. So if you are working with SharePoint, you have a managed metadata service available, which is also known as taxonomy. So you can use Syntex to automatically tag your data, such as documents, with those metadata that you have set up in your tenant. There's also an optical character recognition service available with Syntex. Basically, this service gives you an ability to extract like a handwritten text information from your images. So that's also available with the Syntex. So again, as I mentioned, today's focus is mainly going to be scattered around structured and unstructured processing, the two services that are most popular within the Microsoft Syntex era. So let's understand what is structured and unstructured processing. Again, we are going to mainly focus on unstructured, but I'm going to give you a quick intro of structured and free-form method as well. So unstructured processing model, we also call it a teaching method. This basically is a model that Microsoft Syntex provides that helps you extract the information from your unstructured documents. Unstructured documents such as letters, such as bank statements. Again, you can consider bank statements as a structured as well, but you will see in our scenario that we are going to walk you through today why we use an unstructured processing to basically extract the information from there. So that's unstructured processing. Another important fact about the unstructured processing is that the models for this unstructured processing method are created within SharePoint using a special site called Content Center. And again, we will see how you create these models and where you create them as we go through this webinar today. The next one is a structured processing model. Again, as a name also known as layout method. Basically, as name indicates, it's basically mainly suited for structured documents such as forms, where you have a fixed set of information that comes on a specific location of the document each time. So that's where you would go and use the structure method. A free-form method, the third one, is also, it's pretty similar to the unstructured method, where you would use it against like a document that are not structured, such as letters. But the difference between the free-form versus the teaching method, where free-form is basically used in Microsoft Power Apps using an AI builder. So that's where you go and create the models. While, as I indicated, the teaching method, you would create those models within SharePoint. So just to brief it up, teaching method, you will create the models in SharePoint. For structured and free-form method, you would create those in Microsoft Power Apps using AI builders. Okay. So as I said, we'll be focusing more in this session today about the unstructured teaching method and how we help one of our clients solve a problem using this method. So the unstructured method, what it is, it's basically suitable for, as I indicated, it's suitable for unstructured or semi-structured file format. These models are created in SharePoint. You need to create a classifier and extractor. So basically, classifier will classify your document and extractor will extract the information from these documents. The file size of each document that this model can process can go up to maximum of 20 pages and 64,000 characters. So if you have a larger documents, then this method is not suitable. This method is available in all of the regions, so you are not limited by where you are located to use this service, and it also supports managed metadata. The language, of course, it supports English and also supports all the Latin alphabetical language. A little bit more about the unstructured processing. It supports wide range of documents, as we already discussed. It automatically classifies your document based on the content, so you don't have, but once you set this model up, you don't have to basically worry about it. Will automatically do the classification for you. It works based with documents such as contracts, letters, financial statement, and will give you we'll show you a demo on how we help one of our customers to basically classify their financial statement and help them solve their problem. If there are 2 or more trained models applied to the same document library, so you can create a multiple models using this method, but if you have applied multiple models to the same library, the file classified is basically processed by the highest average confidential score. So what will happen is when you apply, I'm guessing you all are aware with SharePoint document library. So let's say you have a single library and you apply multiple models there. Each model will get a confidence score. So when you upload a file, they will basically, all of these model will process this file and they generate a confidence score. And the model that has highest confidence score will go ahead and process that particular file. This is very important when we discuss about the licensing. So just keep it in mind, and we'll see how it's why it is very important to in terms of basically licensing, because it affects the cost as well. Okay, there are some pre-built models available by default out of the box with SharePoint with Microsoft Syntex that you can start using. They are contract processing, invoice processing, and receipt processing. So basically, you can just there are pre-created models. You can start using it and see if that they fit your needs or not. If they don't, then of course there is an option to create those custom models that we are going to show you how you can do it. But be in mind that there are pre-built models available, and they cost a way lot. They cost much lesser than the one that you build your own. Okay, so here's the important part: the licensing. So there used to be 2 types of licensing. There was a per user licensing, and then there was a pay as you go licensing. So I'm not going to go in the details of the points for the per user licensing, because this model is discontinued by Microsoft as of July this year. So the per user licensing is no longer available. So the only option available now is basically your pay as you go licensing model. And the way it works is you would create an Azure subscription in your tenant, and then you would create a resource group there, and depending on how many documents you process or Syntex processes for you, you will basically get charged per processing. There are resources available towards the end of this slide that will give you the exact cost that is associated with this processing. But just to be mind that there is only a pay-as-you-go model available going forward. Okay, so let's talk about our scenario today, basically, and how we help one of our client solve the issue that they were having. So we had a client who came to us. They had more than 50 different types of financial statement that they were processing manually. So basically, they would go. So this client is basically a financial firm that were managing statements for their own clients. And there are different people who are managing their clients. So different employees in their organization had access to different clients. So what they would do is they would open the statement, see which client it belongs to. They would extract some of the information, such as the statement year and statement month and the account number. And they would put it into an Excel file, and then they would upload the statement to a specific location for that particular client. So this was all manual steps that they were doing. And as you can imagine, if you have 50 different types of statement coming each month, how much of the manual processing that they had to do. So let's go to our scenario and how we basically had them using Microsoft Syntex. So I'm going to present to you the architecture that we built and the different basically the whole architecture that we built to solve that problem and automate the process of that they were using, doing it through a manual process. Okay, as you can see on the architecture diagram on the right hand side, what we did is we created a common drop-off library. So basically, this is the library where they would drop all the statement that they received. And this statement includes a digital copy. Some of them were scanned documents as well, because not all the statement providers would send them a digital copy. Some of them were physical statements. So basically, they would scan them and they upload all of those into this document library. And one of the reasons why we chose the unstructured model is because of that scanned version of the documents. Because even if so, there's two reasons why we chose unstructured method, because there are 50 different types of statements. They all look different. They are not same because they are from different financial institutions. So they had a different format. They had a different location where the information that we need to extract, such as account number, month, and date of statement, they would be on a different location. So it was not fixed, so which is why we had to use an unstructured model, because for us it's an unstructured. Also, the second aspect is the scan documents. Even though they look same, they depending on the quality of the scan and the position of the scan, sometimes your page is slightly on the left moved. So depending on, because of those situations, the internal structure of the document after Syntex processes it does not come the same, which is another reason why we use the unstructured method. So basically, as per the architecture, they would drop the documents into a drop-off library. Microsoft Syntex will automatically pick up those documents and it will process those. Now we created about, for those 50 different statements, we basically combine these statements into the group in a way that they look similar, and the data that we need to extract in a similar location, we group them into a single group. That way we only had to create about 8 or 9 models to extract the information from 50 models. So basically Syntex would go and process this document. It would extract the information. There are 3 pieces of metadata that we were extracting from the statements. One of them is account number, a statement month, and a statement year. So Syntex would extract that and then Power Automate. I'm sure you guys are aware of what Power Automate is. It's basically a workflow system from Microsoft. So it would it would wait for Syntex to extract the information. As soon as the account number and the other metadata is extracted, it would go and call a third-party system. In this case, it was a SQL table, but you could also use custom connectors to integrate this automation with other third-party systems as well. So basically, in our case, it was a SQL database. So we would look for the client information from a SQL table based on the account number we extracted from the Syntex model, and we would pull the information such as client name, the location of their folder, and so forth. And then we would move that document because we know which client it belongs to now. It would automatically move this document to a destination library. And this destination library has a folder already created for each client. Those folders had already been set up to have an appropriate permission, so only people who need access to that client's document has access to that folder. So that way we are moving this document in a secure manner, and only people with access can see those information. So then the document gets moved to the destination library, and it's all automatically classified and accessible to the users. So that's how we solve that problem. You see that there is also a Power Up section at the bottom. Now, as I said, these documents differ when they are scanned, they differ in the format. So not 100% of the times a Syntex can process these documents, right? So there are cases where a Syntex might not be able to extract the information that we need, such as account number. So what we did is when Syntex done processing these files, the Power Automate workflow, which we use to move the document, if it doesn't find the information it needs to move the document, it would set the status of the document is saying that it's no model found for this document. So then what we did is we created a nice Power App for the user. So when they open this Power App, they will see all these non-processed documents with a preview on the right-hand side, and the metadata that they need to fill, such as account number and statement month and date. On the left-hand side, they will preview the document. Right-hand side, they will see what account number it belongs to. They can just copy and paste it and update the metadata, and then workflow picks up again, saying, oh, okay, now this document has the account number, so let's move it to the location it needs. So that helped them process some of the document that Microsoft Syntex failed to process, and that way it presented them a complete solution to automate the process that they were spending a lot of time doing doing it manually. Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick 2 minutes to see if you have any question related to that, and Michael is looking for it. If you do, please let us know. If not, then I'm going to start a quick demo of what I've explained so far.
Yeah, everyone, just if you've got those questions, feel free to throw those up in the questions tab. We'll make sure we get those answered while he's getting this demo set up.
Okay.
Not a question, but a comment. You are amazing, Imran. So keep doing the amazing job you're doing.
Thank you. All right. So as you just saw in the architecture, we had a 2-document library. Please mind for the we had a little time to prepare the demo. So the names are not accurate, but it's basically indicating the 2 libraries that I explained. So basically, the first library is the drop-off library that I was talking about, where where the user would come and drop the documents, and then the second document library has a folder for each client. In this case, it's the account number. Again, it could be a client name, but because of the time constraint, we just come up with the number. So I'm going to open up, I'm going to upload a quick sample documents here, and then we will see how this information gets extracted. So I'm going to upload 2 documents just to save time, because it does take a couple of minutes for Syntex to process. So as you can see, hopefully you are able to see, I uploaded 2 documents. And in the top, you see that it's there's a message saying that we are analyzing your files, and you will see the extracted information in the columns library. So that this message is basically from Syntex, indicating that it's processing these files. And the expected result is once it processes it, we will have this bank account, month information extracted from this document. For the sake of it, I'm just quickly going to open this document. Again, these are fake statements, so don't worry about the classification. So basically what we are doing here is from this statement, we are extracting the account number and the month of the statement. So let me close this and see if the processing has already been done. Usually it gets processed within a minute or 2, but Microsoft says that it may take up to 30 minutes for Syntex to process. You can also, what if you already had document? So you can also like process the existing documents by selecting them, and you'll see once you enable Syntex, you'll see the option to classify and extract. So you would just basically click on this button again, and it will process that document if it's not been processed before. So I'm going to quickly refresh it. The other way you would know when Syntex completes the processing of this document is that there's a special column that gets added when you apply a Syntex model, and as you can see, it's populated now. It's basically this classification date. So if the date is populated and you don't see the data that you are expecting, that means Syntex has done processing it, but it failed to extract the information. But in our case, it automatically extracted, it is successfully extracted the information that we were looking for. And you see there are also some of the special fields that gets added One is the URL of the model that processed this file. Also, there is a unique ID of the model. So as I said, you can apply multiple models to your library, and basically this information helps you identify which model processed the documents for you. If you click on classify and extract without selecting any documents, you will see a name of or the number of models applied to this library. In this case, there is only one model applied, but if you click on available models, you will see more models available if they are available, if they are created in your tenant. Okay, as you see, the information is extracted, and that should kick our workflow. So I'm going to quickly go to the workflow and see that it's been executed 40 seconds ago. There are two executions because we uploaded two files and it was succeeded. So that means these two documents should be copied. In this case, in the demo, we are copying, but in our actual scenario, we were basically moving this document to the new library. So that means this document will not be duplicated. In this case, we are just copying it for the sake of demo. But if I open this folder, I see one of the file is uploaded into that, and because the second file belongs to a different account, there is a new folder for that one, and the second file has been moved to that particular folder. Okay, so that was a quick demo. Again, Edward will go through how you can create this model and what are the options available, how to best set up this. But this was mainly towards how the architecture that you want to consider works for this point. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Now, I'm going to talk about some more best practices and the lessons that we learned when we implemented these projects. And again, Edward will show you the real world example of it. But some of the best practices include more example files help achieving better accuracy. So as I showed you that there's a specific types of statement that each model is processing. So when you are creating these models, you have to provide some example files to this model so it can understand which types of file it has to process and what type of file it doesn't have to process. And again, Edward will show you how to do it. But basically, the more the example file you can provide during the creation of your model, it will increase the accuracy of the content that you are extracting from it. Unstructured models can be trained to extract the information from different file formats. So I showed you a Word file, but you can also work with PDF and even images as well. If multiple models are applied to a document, library file will be processed to all models. Again, I showed you the example where it was only one model applied to the library, but in our real world scenario, when we were processing 50 different types of statement, we had to create 10 models. And those 10 models were applied to the same library. Now, the things you need to understand is when you upload a document, each model first processes that document and generates that confidence score. So the processing is done through each of the model. So when you are architecting, if feasible, you want to divide this drop-off library into a multiple libraries. If you have to create a number of models. That way, you will reduce the number of processing per document per model, because as we saw, the licensing is basically per processing now. So if one document is processed by 9 models, that means you are paying 9 times more than you would have than if you had one model per library. So again, there may not be feasible to create each library per model because the users do not know which library to upload it to. But if you are able to come up in a multiple library, maybe a library per department or per business unit, or maybe a type of statement, then it will help you reduce the cost. As you saw in our example, you can also use Power Automate Flow to either notify the user that their document is processed. In our case, we were moving the document to a different location. So the possibilities are endless using Power Automate and Power Apps. you can use those to enhance or basically take your solution to the next level. For unstructured model, provide multiple explanation for classification. Again, Edward will show you how to do that, but when you are creating this model, you need to provide an explanation of what you are extracting from the document. So try to provide more than one explanation for each extraction. That way it will improve the accuracy of your model. Also, this goes without saying, of course, test your models into your test site before you work on a production data. And I'll show you how you can basically work off of a test location and then deploy this model to the production. But that's the best practice that you need to follow. Some more tips and tricks about at an architecture level. So each model that you deploy to a library creates its own content type. So it helps you identify which model process the document, and also helps in a system such as Power Automate or Power Apps to process the document differently. A model can be exported from one tenant to another. So if you're working off your dev environment, you can always export that model that you created to the production library. And Syntex models can be applied to multiple libraries as well. So we saw a scenario where multiple models are applied to a single library, but a same model can also be applied to a different library as well. So it's basically a many-to-many relationship between the models and the libraries. Okay. Any questions so far? The last item I want to cover is the deployment. So if there are any questions, Michael, this is the time to bring them up. If not, then we'll continue with the deployment.
No question at the time. Keep on going, man.
All right. Okay. So there are two deployment options, as we were just talking about. You can move your models from your development or UAT tenant into a production. You can do it either manually by simply exporting the model, or you can use a PNP PowerShell. So if you are familiar with the PNP PowerShell, you can use that to do as well. And the reason why I was suggesting the PNP PowerShell is the better option, and here's how you use PNP PowerShell. But the reason why I was proposing the PNP PowerShell is better option, because if you do it a manual export and import, your sample files that you uploaded to the train these models, they do not copy over when you do it manually. However, PowerShell takes care of it, and it will automatically copy your training files. The advantage this gives is if you have done it manually, you have to upload these files and retrain your model. This takes few minutes, but it's again an extra step. And when you are working with number of model, the time adds up really quickly. However, if you use PowerShell, you don't need to worry about. You just run a PowerShell, extract the model, and deploy it to a production. You don't need to retrain them or do anything apart. So here's how you use a PNP PowerShell. If you are familiar with PNP site templates, these are basically the template that you use to provision the SharePoint site automatically. So it's the same PNP command where basically you are getting a site template. In this case, you just pass the handler called Syntex model. If you want to extract specific model, then you can create a JSON file example listed below, and then use a configuration parameter instead of handlers parameter, and then provide your JSON file. Again, we will be sharing you the link below, which will give you more information how you can use PowerShell. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to pass next set of slides to Edward, who will basically teach us how we can create these models and what are the best practices around creating them. Okay, up to you, Edward.
All right, thank you, Imran. So let me set this up. You could see my screen? Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, so actually, sorry, I didn't need to share my screen, sorry, my bad. Sorry, you could take control again. I skip a few slides ahead. All right, sorry. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll go over some best practice and tips and tricks when you're building out your model. So first things first, when you're creating a model, even though you don't require or it doesn't need you to create multiple explanations, like Imran said, it's always best to create more than one, even though because you say if you have one model and then you're trying to what's it called, just apply to one library, and then you have one explanation, it could get 100%, but obviously if you have more than one models in that same library, it's going to become more and more complex. So best practices, if you use before, after, and the label explanation, that will help you solve a lot of issues and making sure that there is no false files getting classified. Next one is, so use unique words and phrases. So what that means is, say if you're trying to extract TD files, like TD bank statements, make sure you use the word TD in your classifier. And what that does is, especially if you have multiple models in the library again. So if you have two models, a TD and an RBC, you don't want RBC models to pull from TD files. And one way to eliminate that is by making sure that you have those unique words. So like if you're pulling for TD, make sure you include TD in your classifier. Next one, before I go further, so what I'll do is I'm going to show you what all these best practice is when I go to the lab. Well, not the lab, the creation of it, so you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, next one is make sure you use the location when you're using your extractors, which I'll show you in a bit because you probably don't know what I mean by looking at the picture right now, because especially you haven't used it, so don't worry about that. But yeah, just avoid using anywhere in the file and make sure you specify a specific location when you're doing your model training. Same thing for making use of match options for extractors. So since they provided all these features, make sure to use it, and that really helps you to make sure that you don't get wrong files classified. And yeah, all right, going to the next slide. All right, tips and tricks. So for this one, we couldn't find any, I guess, Microsoft documents on this yet, but it seems like there is a maximum file of 200 when you could upload to a single model for training. So make sure you don't pass that 200 files to them, but I don't think you will for most of the trainings you'll be doing, so you should be fine. And then if you're applying multiple models to a single library, and then say one of the models classifies one of the files incorrectly, you could go into that model and then find that file and just mark it as no label under extractor. And what that does is it really helps you minimize it getting classified incorrectly. So that's a little tip. And obviously, if you're scanning documents, just keep it consistent, because especially if you use locations and then you scan it inconsistent, it might not be classified correctly. All right, next one. Okay, so prerequisites and setup. So before you could use Microsoft Syntex, like Imran mentioned, you need Azure subscription, and then you either need to be an owner or a contributor role in that subscription. And then you need to create a resource group in that subscription. And obviously you need a SharePoint Online to train your models and apply the models. All right, next. Okay, so here is what I skipped earlier. So now what I'll do is I'll share my screen. All right, hopefully it's sharing the screen correctly. So you see here, this is what happens after you set up everything. So once you set up the subscription, the resource group, and your SharePoint Online, so this is your Mint Content Center. This is where you create and train your models. So what we'll do is we're going to go to models, and we're going to create a model just to demo how everything works for you, so you have an idea. So go to models, go ahead, create a model, and then we're going to use our teaching method, right? Oh, did it too fast, sorry. So we're going to use teaching method. So this option's right here. And here, just kind of brief highlight what tells you what it does. So we could go next. So give it a name. I'll just call this a demo. Yeah. And then if you go advanced settings, you could create new content types and whatnot, but we'll just leave it alone. So hit create. All right. So when you create a model for the first time, you're gonna have an empty screen, which doesn't really have anything. So first thing you want to do is really add files that you want to be classifying. So click add from library, and we have training files in here. So if I go to this folder, I'll upload all these training files that we have prepared. All right, so you see here that I uploaded 5 files. So the minimum files requirement for a model is you need 5 files. So 4 positive files and 1 negative. That's the minimum. You could have more. So, all right, once you upload your files, what you're gonna do now is click on train classifier. And in here is where you're gonna say if this is a positive file or a negative file. So to view your actual statement, if you click on this view original, this will load up the actual file itself and how it looks like. So you see here that this is a TD bank statement with all the details. So this one, what we're doing is we're going to be extracting TD files only. So since we view the original file, which it is a TD, so we're going to click on yes, this is a file that we want to extract from. And since I know these demo files are mostly TD, I'll know which one. So this is also a TD file, and this is also a TD file. And I mean, if you're not sure, just click on view original, and then you could see what the file is, because when you're viewing it on this screen, it's all converted to text, so probably it's hard to tell. All right, so this is also a TD file. I know this one is not a TD file, and once again, you could check by clicking on view original, and we'll load. And you see here that this is a regions bank account, so it's not a TD file. So we're gonna click no. So you see here that I provided 4 positive and then 1 negative. So that's a minimum requirement that you'll need before you could start your model training. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a label that classifies this. So how does it identify this is a positive TD file that you're looking for? So we're gonna go new, and we're just gonna go blank. So for name, I'll just call it label. And for explanation type, we're just gonna use a phrase because we're gonna type out exactly the word it's looking for. So remember what I said, try to use unique wording. So you see here that this mentions TD Business Premier. So we're going to use this word, copy and paste it here. Because if I look at the file, all these files, by clicking this next file here, all these files mention TD Business. Same one with this one. And this is the one that's the regional bank. And you see here that it doesn't mention anything about TD. So that's why we use this phrase exactly, just to eliminate any false files. Now, let me go back to the first file. So right here, where I was saying in the best practice also, this is what I mean. So try not to use anywhere in the file, because when you use this selection, what it does is it scans through the whole file. So if you have a file that's 20 pages, it looks through the whole pages, which is not what you want. So what you want to do is you could either do beginning of the file, end of the file, or custom range. So we'll use beginning of the file because it's around the beginning. And you see here that this highlights the range that it's looking at. So if it's not within range, you could just drag it, right there. So now it's in range because this is a phrase I'm looking for. So now it's within that range, so that's good. And these are the matching options. So like I was saying, since they provide you these features, just really make use of it. And what this option does right here, this only exact capitalization, that looks for all the case it must match with this. So you see that TD is to capital T and D, capital B and capital P. So it must match exactly, which is what you want. And these two, I'll show you later what it does, but for this case, we don't need it. So we're just gonna hit save. All right, so wait for classifier, you actually don't need 3 labels or 3 explanation. 1 is good enough unless you have a lot of, I would say, models or a lot of files you're trying to classify in this one single model, then you're probably gonna need more. So, but for us, we're just gonna need 1. So we're gonna hit train. So now what it's doing is it's gonna go in, and you see that it did it pretty fast because there's only 5 files, but you see that it's able to detect that this is a positive file. All these are positive and this is a negative match, because if I view this file, it is the regional bank one. So that's correct. So it's 100% accuracy. So now we could exit this. All right, so now the AI is trained. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell it what values to extract from. So we're gonna hit create extractor, and then here you're gonna give it a name. Let's just say we're gonna extract the month. So I'll just say bank month. You could type in whatever you want. I'll just call it that. And then here you could see that you could use your existing columns or create a new one if you want. So we're just gonna create a new one. and leave it as a text. Equate. All right, so these are the files that we have again. So now here is where you're gonna highlight what the value is you're trying to extract from. So you see here, this sort of one way to really tell what exact value, because this is all text, so sometimes it's hard to see. Once again, you could click on View Original, and that kind of gives you a good overview where, well, what kind of value you're trying to extract from. So you're looking for statement periods, and it tells you it's September 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2019. So that's kind of the period we're looking for. So if I see it right here, it's right here. So because we're doing the month statement, so we're just going to extract the month. So if you highlight this, there you go. So it's basically going to extract this month right here. And then next file, you just do the same. And what you want to do is really keep it the same location and same exact, I guess, area you're extracting from. So you see here, because this one, I'm extracting from this month, the first one. For this one, I should do the same and not extract it from this value right here. You could pick two, but just limit it to one. So just pick exactly the same location you're picking from your previous ones. So keep everything consistent. So this thing right here is January. And you see here, this is instead of just the first three letters, it actually spells out the full month. So we're going to highlight that as well. And for this one, this is a file we're actually not going to pull a value from. So once again, you could view this file by going original, view original, and then you could see that it's a region file. So it's not a TD file, which is not what we want. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where if you mark this as no label, it's going to know that this is not the file you want to extract from. So it really improves the accuracy. All right, now let's go training. Okay, so this is what I was mentioning. You should have 3 explanations minimum, and that really helps out. So first one, we're gonna go new from a template, and then you see there's pre-created templates for you. But first 3 is, I would say, it helps you resolve 90% of what you need. So we're gonna create first one after label first. And we'll just leave the name as default. And you see here it has pre-populated values, but we're going to remove that because these are static values. I don't want static, I want dynamic. So remove, it doesn't let me delete everything. Okay, there. So I'll remove everything. So what this is doing is, so it's trying to look for the after label value. So meaning, because I'm holding September, so it needs to know what the after value is, which is this right here. So 01/2019, but obviously we can't put that exact number because you don't want to come in here when you do the next month or the next year because the number won't match, and you don't want to hard code everything. So this is where these matching options here really, I guess, comes into play. So now if I type in 00, 0000, and then maybe just a minus sign, and then check this option right here where it says any digits from 0 to 9, and pick a location, and I'll go in more detail. So you see here this location, it's within this location, so it's able to find this field. And what this any digits from 0 to 9 does is, if you put 000, it doesn't matter if it's a 1 or 9 or whatever, as long as it's in this format, it's going to be able to pull it. So what that does is, so let's say you have this model and it's running all the way to next year, it's still going to be able to pull it because it's all numbers, as long as it matches the format, which is this right here. All right, so we're going to save. And now we're going to go our next label. Ooh, and notice I'm running low on time, so I'll try to do this faster. So this one's before label, so it's basically opposite. So what's looking for the values before your label. So this one's September, so it'll be this right here. So we're just gonna do, because we know that it's most likely gonna be all one page of, could be 7 or 8. So we're gonna type in 1 of, and just put a 0 in the end. So, and then we'll put the same thing, location is in the beginning, and this right here. And we'll also match the case sensitive because there is letters in here. So what this does is it's gonna do 1 and then whatever the number is. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't matter. And that's it. So save. And now we're gonna do one more, which is the label itself. So if we go pick this one right here. So for this, because it's September, and you notice that there is a month where it spells the full spelling. So we want to eliminate any chances of missing any month. So what we do is do AAA, and which is this option right here. So it works the same as numbers. So when you put AAA, it could be any letters, doesn't matter. It just needs to match a format. So we're going to put capital A here and check this box for capital matching and then any letters. But this only match 3 characters. So what we want to do, just be in case, I'll copy and paste this and just keep pasting it. Oh, I copy the extra space. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Because the longest month is 9 characters, so we'll just add another A in here so it covers all months. I think that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that will cover all months in spelling. You don't have to worry about if it's first 3 letters or it actually spells out the full month, because that will cover everything. And we'll hit save. Oh, actually, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't check this location. So it's beginning the file again, save this. All right, so now we're gonna train this. So you see here that once it's done training, it should be able to, yep. So it was able to detect and pull the exact value which I wanted, so the months. And then this file, which is a false file, it didn't pull anything, which is exactly what we want. And now we could exit this. So now you could apply it to a library. So this is where you actually do the trainings and whatnot, see how everything works. So what we're gonna do is apply it to a library, which is this library right here. And we're gonna do this one that pre-created. So if you go add, it will add this model into the library, which then we could upload files. So if we go to the library, so this is the model. Now we could upload files to test it. So if I pull, oh, stream, give me a second, it paused my screen share. I'll just upload these files. All right, so that should resume. So I uploaded 5 files I already set up. And these will start to classify within a few minutes, hopefully sooner rather than later. But that's kind of how you do things and how you could apply a model to a library, which then you could test out. And yeah, I don't want to waste your time because you already see how this works. Once it classifies, it's able to pull the month value, and that's it. Because we're also running low on time, so yeah. But yeah, that's all my demos for today. And I believe Michael will be taking over for the rest.
That's right. Thank you so much, Edward and Imran. What an amazing session you guys had going on today. Really appreciate that. A lot of information coming out of this day, a lot to say about Syntex. It's such a cool piece of the Microsoft universe, and we're glad that we've had you guys here today to tell us all about it. If you're looking to get a little more information or just kind of keep track of some of those things that they talked about, we've got a resources handout for you. That handout is going to be in the handout section of the GoToWebinar channel, so to speak. Feel free to grab that as a perk of you guys being here. Grab that handout, get those resources, have them available to you, and keep looking into Syntex, keep seeing what it's doing. We're going to go to the next slide, please. We mentioned earlier about having a little survey that we like to do. This is your opportunity to give us your feedback on the webinars. Let us know what you think. What did you like? What are some things that you'd like to see more of? Is there a topic you'd like to see on the Pixel webinar series? We want to hear about it. Let us know all about it. This is your opportunity. So follow that link, follow the QR code. Let us know your thoughts. Like I said before, we are a culture of constant improvement, and we want to make sure we're always giving you the best product possible here at the Pixel webinar series. We've been going for a long time. We want to make sure we are still going just as strong as we always have. So let us know what you think. And in the last few months, we've gotten feedback from people, and they've taken the surveys, and it's entered them to win a $50 Amazon gift card. We do these these drawings quarterly, and today is the day that we do one. Let me move the handle there for our next drawing. The last couple of months, we've gotten some really good feedback from people, and so those people were entered. And now today, we're going to do our quarterly drawing from this. So this is some of the people that have given us their feedback all in the last few months. And the winner of this quarter's Amazon gift card is Rob Salamilis. Rob Salamilis. I don't know if I can get that close enough. My handwriting's horrible, but Rob Salamilis, a winner is you. Congratulations on winning a $50 Amazon gift card. I'll be reaching out to you a little later in the week to get that to you. And then Andre, thank you so much for being here and supporting us. Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate you being here as well. So like I said, if you want to enter yourself to win to get that $50 Amazon gift card, again, we'd love to hear your feedback and all that. And with that, we are pretty much right at time. I don't see a lot of questions coming in, so we're going to go ahead and move forward to the end. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Edward, Imran, thank you so much for this amazing session today. This has been a topic I've been looking to hear about for a long time, so I appreciate you guys giving us the lowdown on all of it. Thank you guys for being here. And for our folks that attended today, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate having you. Thank you for joining us again on the Pixel webinar series. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, weekend, month, year, all of that. And we will see you all down the road. Take it easy, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
See ya.